The heat is on in the chase for the champion.
Hello and welcome to Oahu, Hawaii for the third and final IFSA Super Series Strongman event of the season. I'm Colin Bryce, and this event, set in the beautiful Hawaiian Waters Adventure Park, is the last chance for these mighty men of muscle to gain points towards winning the title of IFSA Super Series World Champion. For those of you that have missed the first 2 weekends of the Super Series here on Eurosport, it kicked off in Aberdeen, Scotland, where the world's strongest man of 2001, Sven Karlsson, you can see there lying in first place, equal with Hugo Girard, won. Girard that day finished second, but he got his own back. Stockholm, he came, he saw, he conquered, and Karlsson struggled to keep up despite his world record in the log lift. So the two are equal on points now. In third place overall is Zydrunas Savickas, the mighty Lithuanian, but we have some other fantastic competitors. First event, it's the Farmer's Walk, very traditional. The man in the lead there, Bergmanis. These are incredibly heavy weights, 175 kilos over a 25-meter course. The man who couldn't pick it up at all, that's Benny Wenberg of Sweden, a man renowned for his grip, a little bit too light perhaps for these truly major events like the Super Series, only 117 kilos in body weight. Bergmanis, on the other hand, an old hat at these super events, and this is a special effort. These truly are the heaviest farmers walks I have ever seen in competition, 175 kilos in each hand. That, of course, combined 350 kilograms over 25 meters. Bergmanis opting not even to wear a belt. Just shows you the power of this athlete, the former Olympic heavyweight weightlifter 3 times at the Olympic Games. Truly got a back of steel. Our next pairing in the Farmer's Walk will be the world's strongest man of 2002. No, it isn't. It's Johansson, the big Swede. So it's the second Swede up against Jarek Dymek of Poland. Dymek on the right there, Johansson on the left. Johansson, very impressive in Sweden in the overhead pressing events and the bench press. Struggled a bit in the car walk, and perhaps this is a similar event. Look at Dymek, however, so fit. Proved to be a formidable athlete of this year's World's Strongest Man, making a final. The smallest man that day, finishing 9th overall, but has proven himself to be a very tough character. Europe's strongest man. He came second. That was his home territory, however, in Gdansk, Poland. That's 175 kilos in each hand. You can see the tendons just being torn out of the shoulder joints. 50.57 seconds. That's a little bit faster than Bergmanis.
Heavy farmer walk when I do it in my life.
Yeah, that's not surprising. It's the heaviest ever. I've heard of men training on 200-kilogram farmers walks, but they're usually from a much higher pickup position, therefore far easier to get up. You can see just how difficult a deadlift it is just to get these off the floor. This man on the right, Odd Hogan, the man in the lead. What a man he is, 52 years old, 52 years young, no less. From Norway, hasn't quite finished the course. 50 seconds is the time that has been set by Jaroslav Dymek, 50.57 to be exact. So these men are still well within that. Very difficult to pick up if the weights are not evenly set up. So Hogan, as I was telling you, in 1972, 31 years ago, he won Mr. Norway in bodybuilding. Here he is competing 31 years later at the grand age of 52 in strongest man events. It's an incredible feat. Mariusz Pudzianowski there, the world's strongest man from this year, struggling.
15 hold.
Was it your grip that made you miss it?
Yeah, slipped a little bit.
Did you ever do a heavier farmer's walk yourself in your life before this time?
Yeah, I tried at 200 kilos and he said.
Well, he may have tried 200 kilos. As I said, I've heard of men doing it, but they're never from this low position. You see that? This is lower than a deadlift in an actual powerlifting competition. Savickas on the right, a world-class powerlifter, world champion in powerlifting. A fantastic deadlift, 407.5 kilos is his world record. Struggling, however, with the grip. Often seen, powerlifters only need to be able to grip onto the bar for 4 or 5 seconds to complete the lift. Well, I guess he's gone back for some chalk. Martin Muir, he's just walked off the set, the big German. I don't know whether he's injured or whether he's just decided that that's too big a deadlift for him to make. I've heard he's got a phenomenally strong back, so that would surprise me. More likely that he's hurt himself. Savickas, 50 seconds to beat. He's a couple of meters away. Can he do it? No, that time has gone now. But he's gone ahead of Bergmanis. So that puts him in second place at the moment. The powerful Pole, Dymek, still leading the competition. These are the protagonists. They're the main men of this competition. Both equal on points coming into this final event here in Hawaii. That's Sven Karlsen, the Viking power from Norway. On the left, it's Hugo Girard. Girard gone into the lead. This is a fantastic time. Does he have the grip power to hold on, however? He's struggling. He's gonna make it. I think he has done. Oh, fantastic result. 21.39. Twice the speed of anybody else. Second closest man was Dymek on 50 seconds. Well, he's gone back to support Sven, but he knows that the day is his so far. Sven struggling, has that long flight. Is it the heat, perhaps? The Norwegian struggles in this kind of temperature here in Hawaii. You take him to -20, he'll be on form. But in 35 degrees Celsius weather, it's very difficult for the Viking.
I have to have a strong start. Everybody's very hungry. There's no room for mistake. And I'm sending a message. Viking wants me, come and get me.
Well, Sven Karlsen finished in 7th in that event, so he's struggling on points now. Next event will be the tire flip after this. He's renowned as a fantastic tire flipper, Sven Karlsen. So you'll have to join us after the break to see what happens. Welcome back to Oahu, Hawaii. This, the final event of the Super Series Strongman Challenge. The winner of today's event, and the series will go forward as world champion in the IFSA Super Series. Hugo Girard goes into the lead after the first event. That was the Farmer's Walk. Sven Karlsen down in 7th position. He will be hurting. This is an event, however, he is absolutely world class at. The tire flip. Weighing in at 410 kilograms, this tire, one of the heaviest on the circuit. They're going to have to flip it down the 25-meter course. The man on the right, not seen before in world-class strongman. He comes from Ukraine, Vasil Verestoik. Up against the man on the left there, the Swede Johansson. Johansson come out of the shadow of Magnus Samuelsson, the giant Swede who's really dominated Swedish strongman over the last few years. But Johansson, with Samuelsson's bicep injury, has taken his chance, finishing in the top 6 of the last event, therefore booking his invite here to Hawaii. And it would be a fantastic thing for him if he could finish in the top 5 or 6 at the end of today. Well, they were given a 1-minute time limit, so Dr. Edmonds, the referee, will now measure where the tires finished. He is the IFSA president, the federation president, as well as the head referee here today. So this is Pudzianowski against Carlson, possibly the two best tire flippers in the world. Incredibly explosive men. Carlson uses a technique, very narrow hands, inside his legs, driving up with his hips, trying to get it over in one single movement. Pudzianowski, also very aggressive. The men will have tacky or chalk all over their chest to try and help the rubber stick to them. Looks like Pudzianowski's gone into the lead. This could be a good time. I think anything under 45 seconds will be amazing. So much more difficult to lift this tire on the grass. They've given him 41.39 seconds. That was with the photo cell timing. 48.16 for Carlson. So that's not a bad time for either of them. But for Carlson, he'll be wondering what Gerard will do now. The big Canadian who won the first event, and the man who is equal on points with Carlson at the moment. Well, here's an interesting battle. Battle of the Americans. Hogan, I said earlier, was Norwegian, but he is now nationalized in the United States. Carl Gillingham on the left-hand side there, from the first family of strength. That's what they like to call themselves in the United States. His father, former NFL footballer. His brother, world champion powerlifter. Carl himself, not too weak either. But Odd Hogan, our 52-year-old on the right-hand side, going into the lead. I don't think he'll trouble Pudzianowski's 41.5 seconds, but he'll finish the course. Just one more flips, all he needs before that 60-second time limit. Can he get it over? The big... Oh, just manages it. Have they given it to him? No, no. The referees are shaking their heads. They're going to measure that one up and see what they get. As you can see, the slow motion time shows you exactly where it was. Well, it's as the tires up and down, so that's definitely not finished.
Did it go as expected so far after two events, Carl?
Yeah, I kind of was a late entrant in this thing, so I'm pretty happy. I didn't train too much for it, so right now it's going pretty good.
Thank you.
Well, the idea behind this Super Series is the best 6 from each event move forward and take on all of the local challengers at the next event. Zavikas and Bergmanis have been at all of them, champions in their own right, and they've moved on through Stockholm to Hawaii for this final event. The likes of Carl Gillingham getting invited as a local to the United States to try and take on the very best in the world. Zavikas, very poor technique there. He's got to learn to try and keep it moving. Bergmanis as well.
Get under it. Come on.
This event, I have seen some horrific injuries if you get it wrong. On the grass, you must wear football boots. And this, of course, brings up a chance to look at our website, Eurosport Strongman at yahoo.co.uk. Please send me any questions or any abuse about these events. Please feel free to lay it all down in writing and send it to me, Eurosport Strongman at yahoo.co.uk. Well, that's a close one indeed. Looks like Bergmanis has taken it there. In fact, he has done by 1 foot.
Yeah, I think it's my heaviest tire flip events in my life. But it's not a good event for me. But I did it well. I'm happy.
Well, I think I can confirm that as well. It's the heaviest I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of strongman competitions. World's strongest, I think the tires are 400, these 410. And it's not so much the weight, it's the diameter as well. They are very high, very thick, and of course the treading, it's very deep. It's very hard to get your fingers under it. So Gerard, the man in the lead on the right. Jarek Dimmick on the left-hand side. These two were the winners of the first event. Dimmick in second, Gerard in first. They go last. It's their right in this second event. Looks like Gerard once again with the upper hand. Can he trouble the best time we've seen so far? This looks good to me. Sven Karlsson managed 48.16. Pudzianowski 41.39. So he's outside those. Just how far outside is he, though? That's the question. And that's what Karlsson will be worried about. Well, he's finished it. That's bad news for Karlsson. Great news for Girard, however. Keeps the pressure on, keeps them close in points. Remember, these two men, the Swede and the Canadian, are equal on points through the series, both competing for this title of world champion, as are, of course, all the other men. You see there that only 3 men in the end finished the entire course, all 25 meters in the 60 seconds. Bergmanis, oh so close. So after 2 events, the standings, Girard comfortably in the lead, Karlsson creeping back up, however, 5th position, 5 points behind.
Take your position under the bar.
Well, we've talked about heavy events. We said the tire flip's about as heavy as we've ever seen. Certainly that farmer's walk is unbelievably heavy. This, the super yoke, 375 kilograms. Well, it looks like Wenberg's totally got his height wrong there. The athletes allowed to pick their height. And Johansson, his fellow Swedish compatriot, storming into the lead there, 17:40. That is something else. I'd be surprised if any of the other athletes get close to that. Karlsson and Girard, however, funnily enough, those two again are very good at this event. Wenberg's got his height totally wrong. He should have had that at least 2-3 inches higher. You can see the way the super yoke's dragging on the grass. A big mistake, and he made this exact same mistake in the Swedish Championships. He was looking like winning it. He was sitting in 2nd place, and this event was an absolute non-starter for him as he dragged his whole way across the 25 meters. He ended up that day in 4th. That's an absolute disaster for Wenberg. Yep, you should be hanging your head in shame to make a mistake twice. Very unprofessional in what is fast becoming a very professional sport. Well, here we have a battle of the Ukrainians. The champion from Ukraine, Veristoik, on the right there, leading the super yoke. This is a man I am convinced we will see a lot more of on Strongest Man. Well, this looks like a great time as well. We've seen Johansson doing 17:40. He manages 20:58. So it looks like the outsiders are putting in some great times early on. Remember, it's done on reverse order from the last event. So once again, we will see the likes of Karlsson and Pudzianowski going last, as they were the top 2 from the last event. Girard will be up against Bergmanis. Melnikov really struggling there. A big squatter, but you need a different type of strength to move with these weights. It's a core strength that, unless you've done a lot of movement and dynamic event training, it's very difficult to get. Well, it's that man Dimmick on the right. He's certainly a lot shorter than Wenberg. So there's no excuses for Wenberg to have those farmer's walks dragging on the ground. You can see there Dimmick taking a much higher setting. Well, he took longer to pick it up, but is he catching on Gillingham? Gillingham, oh, he has done. It's a tortoise in the hare race. Gillingham struggling on the left. He's got up again. Can he get his stable footing? Oh, Dimmick looks like a drunken man on the right there. Is he going to finish? Gillingham's taken it. Dimmick in 2nd there.
Well, Gillingham, how is your 3 last events now, the press events? Are you strong in those?
We don't want to talk about them.
No mistake.
Under the bar, please.
Zadrunas Zavikas, the Lithuanian, on the right. Odd Hogan on the left. Now, Hogan has the advantage here. He's trained on these events throughout the year. This is his home base, Hawaii, so he knows the kit, and that's definitely a big advantage, but there's absolutely no getting rid of the fact that Zadrunas Zavikas is just so incredibly powerful. But they haven't stopped Zavikas' time there. I'm sure they have a backup clock. Yes, they have done. Savickas given 17.70 there, just behind Anders Johansson. Johansson still the fastest man. Odd Hogan, 24.58 seconds. The Olympic weightlifter on the left. The power lifter on the right. And it looks like it's going to be the powerlifter's day. Gerard sprinting into the lead here. Such incredible power around his midsection to able to take this kind of pressure. 15.62 seconds. That's an awesome time for Gerard. The pressure's really on Bergmanis, finishing at 19.9. So it's Pudzianowski and Carlson still to go. Carlson, he needs to beat Gerard now. He needs to go into the lead in this event to keep chipping away at the lead that Gerard got from the first event, the Farmer's Walk. Pudzianowski absolutely dynamite at this event though. The pole on the right-hand side. He definitely has muscles in places most people don't even have places. Oh! He's so aggressive, however, it could cause him to fall. No, he hasn't. He's done it. Pudzianowski in second. Carlson goes into third with that time.
You have a slow start today.
I'm not in shape yet. This is very hard. It's the first time ever, probably in 25 times I lost the yoke race, and that's really embarrassing.
But you probably had a good time. Marius had a great time, and Hugo, you were up there.
It doesn't matter. I'm the best in the world in this event. I lost, and that's really horrible.
Well, I can vouch for Carlson there. He is one of the greatest super yokers ever, and I don't know what's happened. I think the traveling must be affecting him. Maybe it's the pressure. Please join us after the break. Welcome back once again to Oahu, Hawaii. This the final event in the Super Series IFSA Challenge. The winner of the 3 events will take home the title of World Champion. So everything to play for and a lot of money as well. Hugo Gerard in the lead. Carlson, well, he lost more points in that last event, the Super Yoke, so he's now 7 points adrift. He needs to come back in this. Carlson, remember, was setting a world record in Stockholm, Sweden for the log press. That was a one-off max. But this has to be an event that he fancies his chances at. This is repetitions with a 150 kilo log. You see the log slightly narrower than the one used in Stockholm. The one used in Stockholm is the official world record, diameter of 30 centimeters. Jamie Reeves on the right there, our referee, adjudicating this. Verestoik, this new Ukrainian, proving he is a man of many talents. 150 kilos, that's 330 pounds. Has to go straight from the ground to locked out arms at the top. The feet must come in line as the elbows lock out, somewhat like Olympic lifting. See there, it only has to be for a split second, and you can't take your hands off it as you drop it either. This is impressive from Verestoik. How many reps can he churn out here? So far, he's managed 3 repetitions. And that's all he'll finish with.
Vasil, как дела?
Все хорошо. Отлично.
Спасибо.
Well, my limited Russian translates that as, how did it go? It went just great. Next man also speaks a little bit of Russian. He is Raimons Bergmanis from Latvia. This is an event I would expect him to do very well at. He's an Olympic lifter. Oh, he tried to snatch it straight from the waist up to his straight arms. That failed. So that is a count of 1 for Bergmanis. I'd like to see him do 4 or 5 repetitions. I'm sure he can. He's got that split leg technique that none of the other athletes have managed to master. Not surprising from his Olympic lifting background. You can see he's gained a lot of tricep strength as well over the last few years of competition. When he first came to Strongman, For those of you who understand the powerlifting movements, he was only bench pressing 160 kilos. That's off a man who has clean and jerk 245 kilograms at the Olympic Games. Now, he tells me he has a bench press of 210 kilos. So that's a good 30, 40, 50% increase even in general tricep and chest power. So a count of 4 there puts Bergmanis into the lead.
You are in the lead now.
Yeah, but I think it's not enough for wins.
You are an Olympic lifter before being in Olympic Games. What difference is it to lift a log from an Olympic barbell?
Oh, it's a big difference. When show me 3 times world's strongest man, Magnus Magnusson, and not lifted 100 with logs. When he showed me technique, I lifted 170.
I mean, it really is that different. He says there he couldn't even lift a 100-kilo log the first time he tried it, and I've known for a fact that he has snatched 190 kilograms. So, and that's done on a normal bar. You can see the difference. The hands in a completely different position than a normal bar. Zavikas sitting in 3rd overall in the series. This is a kind of event he likes. Big pressing power. He will be putting Bergmanis under pressure with this kind of rhythm. 3 reps. Bergmanis has done 4, remember. And one of the great pressers of all time was Gary Taylor. And we've had some emails through to Eurosport Strongman at yahoo.co.uk. And one of the questions was from Jenny Sassy of Guildford in the UK. She wants to know whatever happened to Gary Taylor. Well, Gary had many injuries after his world's strongest man went, 5 repetitions. Zavikas takes the lead. That will be very hard to beat. Carlson and Gerard, big pressers though. As I said, Gary Taylor had a lot of nasty injuries, including getting crushed by a tire in one of his comebacks. Had several different tendon, ligament, muscle operations. A lot of metal now in his legs. And rumor has it he's making a comeback. But whether we'll see him this year or next year, we'll have to wait and see. But he's a man with a silver medal at the Olympics, so who would doubt it, along with a world's strongest man title. Sven not looking anywhere near as stable as he did just a short while ago in Stockholm. That day 185 kilos, flew up. This only 152 kilos, or 150 kilos. Only 2 repetitions managed so far. Sven really under pressure. He looks like a weakened version of the man we only just recently saw. The humidity really is stifling here. You have to remember that Sven, so used to the cold weather of Norway, coming out of a freezing winter to Hawaii. Another man used to some cold from the north of Poland, Mariusz Pudzianowski. He has had some 4 months off after the World's Strongest Man competition, where he won it this year in Kuala Lumpur, and it's definitely taken its toll. His sponsors said, you've got to rest. You can't keep putting that demand on your body. So this, in some ways, just fun for Pudzianowski, traveling a bit of the world, adding a little extra money to his bank account. But he's not really challenging, certainly not today. 2 repetitions in the log press. 5 sets so far by Zavikas, the big Lithuanian. Once he's taken his hands off, that is his attempt over and done with. So he's got to stay in that uncomfortable crouched position. Very technical Pudzianowski. He's not just aggression, he is very well trained as an athlete. I'm sure he'll be disappointed with 2 repetitions. You would have expected someone like Pudzianowski to knock a few more out than that. Now, Hugo Girard, a man with colossal upper body strength. Another man who attempted that 185 kilo world record in Stockholm. He failed that day. And I'm telling you what, it is absolutely killing him. He thought that world record was gonna be his. Gerard, can he prove it here today that he is the biggest presser in the world? 5 repetitions to beat. First repetition flew up. Second repetition looking good. Of course, the difficulty is once you start staggering around on that stage, you're huffing and puffing, building up lactic acid all the while. Makes it very difficult. You really want to get a clean press with every single repetition. Save your energy. Well, he looks good for maybe another. I can't picture him finishing off 5 repetitions though. Such incredible tricep pressing power. Look at this. Just a tiny movement with his legs. It's so impressive to see. I don't think there's a man in the world with tricep power the same as him.
I'm very happy. I have a slight pull in the bicep, so I just wanted to make sure score a good point here and save for later.
Well, Zavigas walks away with that one. 5 repetitions, unmatched. Bergmanis and Gerard back on 4. Looking at the points total then, Sven Karlsson slipping back to 5th position. Pudzianowski now 1 point ahead of him. And a full 12.5 points behind Hugo Gerard. The pressure really on. Moving to our 5th event. This is a classic in Strongest Man. We haven't seen this for a very long time. It's the crucifix. This is a combination of strength and sheer pain and determination. The athletes love it and hate it with equal measure. These are 2 traditional axes from Hawaii weighing 14 kilos, 30 pounds each. There's an 8-inch gap that he has to keep his arms up in between. You can't see it, but there is photocell lasers between his hands. If his arms drop, then he will cut the beam and his time will finish. You can see he's allowed to move his back however he wants. They are so heavy that it doesn't matter. He's trying to change his muscle groups into his pecs from his shoulders. Oh, it's a magnificent attempt. 54.22 seconds. That is huge.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was 54.22 seconds. Here we go, take 2. This is Sven Karlsson.
Sven looking for a little bit of Hawaiian power in one of the local dresses. Already starting to shake. Sven has not got enormously long arms. That's got to help. Too much leverage here, and the weight is so far away from your body, it starts to pull your arms down. He's looking to his left-hand side, though. Maybe he's troubled there. Has he picked up an injury in the log lift? You know, in Strongman, they say there's only survivors, there's never winners. And I think that statement is very true. Cut it at 36.96. Very disappointing for Karlsson.
You seem to have a problem with your back. Is that so, Sven Karlsson?
Something is wrong. Every time I bend a little bit, it feels like it's been hit by a knife in the lower back.
I've seen in your last 3 events that you had some pain there. That is correct then?
Yeah.
That's good. Still you are on 3rd place now in the Super Series final. Is this a lot of pain for you to come through with the last event as well?
Yeah, I will try, of course. I just have to try and see. I will never give up. So.
Surrender is not in the lexicon of Sven Karlsson. Not a word he knows. This man, Jarek Dimick, has got very short arms. Only about 5'10". Great for pressing, great for crucifix as well. You can see his arms are pointing upwards, putting a lot of pressure on his triceps, his biceps, and indeed on his front deltoid muscles early on. You can see he too is leaning back, trying to get the weight onto his pecs. That looks like a little bit of a cheat there. He's leaning against the pole with his arms. Surely that must have taken a little bit of weight off. Doug Edmonds, you can see moving around there, the referee. He knows all the tricks. He's seen them all before. Dimmick, he surely can't last too much longer. He's going to go any second. Oh, 56.03 seconds. That puts him ahead of Pudzianowski, his compatriot.
Dimmick, a new leader in the crucifix hold. Is this a favorite exercise for you?
Now I think so. I really know.
Have you ever tried it with photo cells before? Did you like the system?
Yeah, like because the system is like a.
It's fair sport.
Yeah, it's fair for all, because the eye is not like a.
Again with the time of 50.
Like a technical.
Like a train.
Ready?
For those of you that watched World's Strongest Man back in the 80s will remember the classic event when Bill Kazmaier, going for yet another title, got called for moving his hands and bending his arms by David Webster, then the head referee. And he had a few choice words for Webster, and that was one of the reasons this event finally got stopped. And David Webster still with us, thankfully. Bill and him now friends. This Varostoik doing a very good time. He looks very stony-faced. Could he be the first man over 1 minute? The time to beat by Jaroslav Dimmick, 56.03. The benefit of going after Dimmick is he knows the time to beat. He'll have a man shouting it in his ear. He's done it. He's gone into the lead. Can he break the minute? Yes, he has. What a time. Hugo Girard has colossal upper body strength, as we discussed before. But will those enormous arms fill with lactic very quickly? That's the problem. Sometimes the men are just so muscular. The blood swells into the arms. You get what's known as the pump. And once the pump sets in, it's very difficult to even feel your arms. That's why you often see them looking to the right and left. They just don't know what's happening with their arms. The pain is so intense, you almost lose sensation. 35 seconds so far. You can see, or rather hear, his coach shouting out exactly the time. Mentally, it's such an advantage to know what you're chasing. Sven Karlsson, remember, went earlier on, 36.96 seconds. So this looks like another disastrous event for Sven Karlsson. And this man, Girard, starting to run away with the event. Oh, second man over a minute. Yes, he's beaten the Ukrainian. He goes into the lead on 1 minute, 2 seconds, 23.
Girard, you seem hard to beat in everything today.
I go out there, give 110%. You know, there's no choice. You know, everybody's pushing hard, and if you relax just a bit, they're right there. You know, I can hear them breathing on my neck.
Today is not only the Super Series Grand Prix Hawaii, it's the Super Series World Championship final. How does that feel if you're now going to be the world champion for 2002?
Feel great. You know, for me it means a lot. That's another title I'm going to have to put on my resume. And I came here to grab the title, nothing less.
And one event to go.
One event to go. Expect the best.
1.23 seconds.
I don't doubt it. He's definitely on form at the moment. 4 times Canada's strongest man, promised so much at World's Strongest Man, but has never delivered. This is his chance to gain a truly major international title of world champion. Zavikas, the final man to go in the crucifix before we move on to the last event, the front squat. Zavikas knows the time once again, 1 minute, 2 seconds. At the moment, Zavikas is pushing hard for winning this event in Hawaii. On points, I can't see him beating Girard. He may well push Karlsson for second place in the Super Series, though, if he can win today's event. This looks good. The Lithuanian holding strong, another 15 seconds, and he'll be the winner of this event. Oh, he's gone, surely. I can't see him lasting any longer. He's smashing up the poles as he goes. Zavikas finishing there in 5th position with 53.12 seconds. As I said before, Carlsen, disaster on 36 seconds, back in 11th. Well, this is your last chance to go for a cup of tea. We'll be back with the 6th event in just a few seconds. See you then. Welcome back to Oahu, Hawaii. This, the final event of the final event in the Super Series. Yes, that's right. The 6th and final event will be the front squat. At the moment, Hugo Girard a full 11.5 points ahead of Zavikas on today's order, and he now has claimed the title. This is just for honor, this final event, so we know who the world champion is. It is Girard. This event, 230 kilograms. Not on an ordinary bar, however, on a particularly difficult bar, as of course you would expect in Strongman. I would demand no less. A full 2 inches thick. It's known as the Apollon's Axle. And this hails from California, where Randy Strossen builds these torturous events. Oh, that's a big lift. 230 kilos. That's 504 pounds. He's got a brake parallel with his legs. You can see it's bum to heel stuff. Oh, that's it. Varistoik, 230 kilos for a double. That is very impressive. This isn't an exercise these strongmen train often. There's only one man I know who trains this. It's Sven. I've followed Sven's training program a couple of times. It is insanely difficult. There's a huge volume of lifting, and this is one of the events he trains a lot of. So I'd be surprised if Sven doesn't do well here. But we've seen Sven not on form, not the Viking we know him to be. Very wide stance with the legs. Oh, that's a lovely lift. Surely he's worth 4 or 5 reps, maybe more. 3 repetitions. Can he get 4? Oh! That back injury has taken its toll once again. Just move forward a little bit and it locked up.
3 reps and you're in the lead. Did your back hurt?
As I said, my back is hurting me, so my legs are strong, but as soon as I get out of position, I just lose it.
In a hole is Marius.
Disappointment for Carlsen. He hasn't gone out in the blaze of glory he hoped. Not in this event, not in the entire day's lifting. It's been disastrous for him. Raymond Bergmanis, very used to lifting heavy front weights. Look at that, he's chosen not even to use a belt. Oh, this is great lifting. This is what we like to see. Oh, that's so cruel from the referee to give him no lift there. But look at that, it slipped off his front. I mean, this is the kind of event he would train in the gym all the time. He could knock out 7, 8 reps, I'm sure, normally, if that was a normal bar. But you can see how slippy it is. Look at it, polished steel. Carlsen's had trouble. Bergmanis has had trouble. Can Marius control his aggression? That's the question. So aggressive in every event he does. You need to keep calm. A kind of quiet aggression. This is fantastic lifting from Pudzanowski. Legs wobbling on the 3rd one. Can he knock out a 4th? World's strongest man of 2002. He gets buried as well. Death by depth, as the great John Paul Sigurdsson used to say.
Take your position.
Zavikas has squatted 420 kilos. That is on his back. Front squat, I'm sure he's trained on many an occasion. The differences between a back squat and a front squat, all the weight is on the legs. You see the way the back hardly bends at all, and if the back does bend, the bar tends to slip off. Zavikas chasing that total of 3. We've seen Sven and Marius manage it. Can the big Lithuanian go one further? Can he get that 4th repetition? Well, there's definitely some doubt in his mind. Yes. You can just see it there. He was about to go down with it.
Mr. Gerard, are you going to go in now and win?
That's what I'm planning to do.
You're in a great lead. You're already home, but still, do you want to beat the 3 reps that is now in the lead for the squat?
I do whatever I can.
Well, that's a very sporting attitude. This is the Super Series World Champion. He has won it with 1 event to spare. This, the last event, he doesn't need to compete at, but he wants to prove that he is the man today. Does he have the motivation, though? I know he's been celebrating after the 5th event, cheering and shouting. How much more can he have left? He's put so much into the other events. Does he have the flexibility as well? Oh, he's lost his balance. The weight flew up there, but his legs moved. It's powerlifting rules. You can't start walking about with the weight. That's very disappointing. That isn't the kind of finish Hugo would have wanted. If you don't make a lift on the 230-kilo bar, you then drop to a lighter bar weighing 180 kilograms. Dymek has opted for the lighter bar straight away. If you make 1 repetition on the heavy bar, you beat a man who does 100 repetitions on the light bar. All that matters is if you manage 1 on the heavy. For those who have to drop to the light, it then becomes a competition on the light bar. So we've seen Carlson and Pudzianowski, indeed Zavikas, all equal on 3 repetitions, and that's all we'll see for today. Those are our top 3 in the final event. Gerard being forced onto the light bar. I'm sure he'll want to knock out more repetitions than Dymek. The question is, can he hold it onto his big chest? He definitely has some flexibility problems in this event. Probably not an event he's ever trained before. Just goes in cold with that incredible brute power of his.
Ready. 1. Go. 2.
This is definitely a face-saving operation now, and it's doing it in style. Dymek managing 1 repetition. We've seen Melnikov coming in on the light one as well. He managed 5 just before Dymek. So Gerard has 1 on the light log, or the light bar. That puts him in 7th.
Secure the Grand Prix title in Hawaii and the Super Series Championship.
You know, I'm glad. It's not the way I wanted to do the squat, but you know, I'm going to take it anyway. And I don't think I won it by the back door.
You started in Scotland, you went through Stockholm, Sweden, and here in Hawaii, you were defeating, you were beating Sven Carlson, Pudzianowski, everybody. Did you really expect this when you came here?
You know, I was expecting I would have a great battle. I knew I had my chance. You know, those guys are strong, but I'm strong too. There's no winner, there's no loser here. Of course I won, but everybody came here, gave 110%, and you know, it felt great.
He is a true champion, Hugo Gerard of Canada. He is the IFSA Super Series World Champion. Sven Carlson winning that last event, equal with Pudzianowski and Zavikas. Wasn't enough, however, to give him the points to win this event, which he so desperately needed. And he will go 2nd in the Super Series. He gets the bronze, or rather the silver medal, with Zavikas back in 3rd place overall. Zavikas getting 2nd here in Hawaii. So Gerard on 21 points, Carlson on 17, Zavikas back on 13. World's strongest man Pudzianowski finishes in 4th, Bergmanis 5th, Odd Hogan, the 52-year-old from Norway and Hawaii, he finishes in 6th. What an incredible series we've seen. All of these men champions in their own right from different events today, and this series, however, has been Hugo Gerard of Canada. Well, thank you very much for watching this week's action from Hawaii. Don't worry, it won't be long before the next season gets underway, and you can join me, Colin Bryce, for all the action here on
live on Eurosport.